Welcome. This is Kaleidoscope News Capsule. Sri Lanka's aviation industry is on the cusp of a digital revolution. From biometrics to seamless passenger journeys, technology is reshaping the way we travel. Joining us on Kaleidoscope News Capsule is SITA's Asia Pacific President Sumesh Patel with insights into the latest innovations and his vision for smarter, connected travel in Sri Lanka. Looking at Sri Lanka's aviation sector, we're at a critical point at this juncture. What key digital transformations initiatives are you seeing shaping the future of our airports and of our airlines?
It's really growing, and it's a good news. It's growing close to about 10% year on year, and that puts a lot of stress on the infrastructure. So we are working very closely with ASL and Sri Lankan Airlines to deploy a lot of new technologies, and mainly focusing on self-service and providing a better passenger experience to the passenger traveling here in Sri Lanka.
What innovations are you seeing as game changers which will foster smarter, more connected travel for Sri Lankans and those visiting Sri Lanka as well, given that it has to align with passenger experiences internationally?
One thing which we really see is the digital travel credential. So basically using your digital identity at various different touch points. And while you mentioned that not just in Sri Lanka, but passenger arriving from them, so how can we provide the similar experience from the passenger from anywhere they are traveling? So for example, some of the technologies which we have recently deployed is the check-in kiosk. So how can that be expanded not just to Sri Lankan Airlines but to the other international airlines which are flying here? Similarly, in terms of automatic backdrop, so how can they leverage that? So there are a number of technologies which we are working with both with ASL and Sri Lankan to enhance the passenger experience overall.
How are you addressing areas like cybersecurity and data privacy concerns, for instance, especially in a market like Sri Lanka where passenger trust is essential to growth?
When we design our products, they are designed taking the security by design in concept. So, and again, our products are deployed at almost 1,000 airports, as I said, globally. So it's very key in terms of we take care of the cybersecurity. So give you a simple example of digital travel. When we talk about digital travel, clearly the biometrics are captured and kept at the airport, right? So what we do is that they are not connected to the worldwide wider network or not on internet, but they are specific to and secure to the airport itself, and they stay at the airport. And once the aircraft takes off, the data is purged. So that means there's full security. Like we do that similarly for India for DigiYatra for close to about 25 airports. So that's where, and as you rightly said, the data privacy is really key. And even for passengers to share their data, they need to be secure. They need to be ensured that it's going to be secured, all the data what they have.
Sri Lanka is a hub. However, how do we compare the adoption of aviation technologies with our other Asia Pacific neighbors, for instance?
I can say that Sri Lanka is really forward looking. So they are looking at technology, and the best part is that every airport in the world or airline in the world are at a different stage of maturity. And one of the reasons is that the dynamics are quite different in every country and every region. The passenger profile, everything changes, right? So for example, if you go to Europe, they are used to using self-service. You don't have anything else. Whereas if you look in our part of the world in Asia, you need to have the right mix of using the technology and also the passenger being served for a certain one. So there are technologies which can help to address both needs.
What would you stress as being the priorities and the needs that this country needs to remain competitive when it comes to regional travel?
For any passenger traveling to any country, and for example Sri Lanka, the first experience or the first thing they see is the airport, and see how smooth their experience is and how soothing is in terms of the arrival, and that's the first impression for any country. And similarly, when they go out, do they have long queues or it's a walk-through experience? So Sri Lanka clearly, as we said, that they are looking at for it to work, what is required is the complete ecosystem. So what about airlines, airports, and government to be aligned? And that's what we are trying to do. And that we do, and that's our job, because we are a neutral service provider and work with all stakeholders to bring back, because the data from arrival needs to be shared with immigration, it's shared with the airlines. So how can we help to make sure that the entire ecosystem works as smoothly as possible?
How is digitalization or adopting all these the digital transformative initiatives help to cut costs, increase efficiency, and also ensure that the airline is able to run operating costs efficiently?
Technology is clearly helping the airlines, airports, and government to have use their resources more efficiently. So, for example, the passenger numbers are going to double, right? So, if we say that if it's going to increasing 10% year on year, clearly much faster. So, with the same infrastructure, we can't be building the new airport terminals or expansion. There's just no space globally. So how can the technology help? So the digital technologies which you spoke about, or your question is mainly looking at, I would say, three areas mainly. One, in terms of the passenger experience itself. That means passenger having a smooth walk-through, seamless experience. Second, operational efficiency. That means how can the airport utilize their gates, their resources, their check-in area, their restaurant, whatever they have, more efficiently in terms of using technology. And third, at the end of the day, it's in terms of digital. So how can they make use of biometrics at every touch point? And that will ensure that it's a walk-through experience rather than having congested areas at the various touch points.
Sumesh, let's look at 5 to 10 years ahead. What does smarter, connected travel look like?
A smarter connected travel would be that you don't need to have your passport, everything is digital. You don't need your visa, you don't need any documents, everything is in your phone because everyone uses the mobile phone in this world. And then not only at the airport you're traveling, but every touch point. So for example, intermodal, and that's where we are investing and we are enhancing our technologies too. So for example, when you arrive here, if you are taking a cruise or a train, how can you use the same digital identity at every touch point, including checking into the hotel? So that would be, I would say, the future of travel. So it's not just looking at the air travel, but complete intermodal and every touch point of your travel.
Where do you see Sri Lanka's aviation industry positioning itself in that vision?
In 5 years, it is doable because, as I said, that it's very progressive now, and they are really looking at a number of technologies. And the most important is that if this technology is deployed in silos, it will never work. But we see that now, airline, airport ASL, and even government. So we're talking to DEI, and how can they use this technology to provide complete end-to-end experience.
Thank you, Sumesh. Lovely speaking with you, and good luck with all you're doing.
Thank you so much. Pleasure speaking to you.
Did you know Kaleidoscope is on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn? Do join us, follow, and like us for more.
You focus on your goals. We will take care of the risks. Sri Lanka Life.